Hello, grade 5. So let's talk about forces yet again. Now, you already know that a force is basically a push or a pull on an object or a change in shape. A force has a size, means the amount of force, a big force or a small force, and a direction, left or right. So when you push pull a something or an object, it has to have a direction, left, right, or up or down. Now, how can we show force? Well, a force is shown by an arrow. You draw an arrow, not like this one, but any arrow will do. The arrow shows two things, direction and size, the amount of force. Big force or a small force are shown by the arrow. Now, how is that shown on a diagram? Well, like this. The arrows show the direction. For example, this arrow shows force working to the left, and this arrow shows force working to the right side, and this arrow shows force working to the left side. Now, what's the difference between the two forces? The length of an arrow. This is a longer arrow, while this is a shorter arrow. The longer arrow means this is a bigger force. The shorter arrow means this is a smaller force. So when you have these forces working together, the one that will win or will cause the movement of the object in its direction is the bigger force. So this force actually is working more than this force. Therefore, this man can push the baby's carriage forward, but the other force is not big enough to cause the carriage to move to the other side. So what do we learn from this diagram? The forces are shown by an arrow. They show the direction, and also that the length of the arrow shows which is the bigger force. Okay, let's move on. Another example is this. Now, this is called the lift force or the action force. Lift force for you. Now, which is the bigger force? The longer arrow. Which direction that it's showing? Down. Which is the smaller force? The lift force. Which direction does it show? The upward. So you can tell all of that by basically looking at the arrows. Now, which force will win? Weight. So the force of weight will win, and therefore the book stays down and not up. Otherwise, it would be a very big mess. Another example is this plane. Now, which force is bigger? Lift. How do you know that? Longer arrow. Which force is less? The weight force. Now, you already know what weight is. It's the action of gravity on mass. Okay? So, which force is having the bigger effect on the plane? Lift. And that's why the air stays in the air, as well as air resistance, which we'll talk about later. Now, what if equal forces work on an object? Well, simply the object will not move. So you have force working on it, but the object does not move. Now, what will happen when the object moves? Well, we say work has been done. So if the object actually is moving, like the example of the man pushing on the baby's carriage, we say there is work. And how do we know there's work? Well, the object has to move. In this example, there is force, but no work done. Now, the next slide shows the activity book examples and the solution. So if you have any question about any of them, you can email me and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you.